the arrival of Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From anticipation to reception. Even before the blessed birth of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu had instilled a special kind of love and anticipation in the hearts of people. Eyes were waiting for someone, hearts were restless, and ears were eager to hear glad tidings of awaited one. This was not a coincidence, but a divine plan whereby the world was preparing to receive the greatest personality sallallahu alaihi wasallam ever to walk the earth. The incident of the elephant and the status of Quraysh. If we reflect, the incident of the elephant points direct to this reality. When Abraha, in his arrogance, marched to demolish the Kaaba, Allah destroyed his army through Ababil, flocks of birds. This incident was not merely a defense of Kaaba, but carried a profound message that the time had come for the arrival of that blessed being, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whose presence would grant true greatness to the Kaaba and flood the world with the light of guidance. Similarly, the status of Quraysh also pointed to this divine agreement. Allah granted them honor, leadership, and sanctity so they might be worthy of the blessing of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's birth and upbringing. They were entrusted with leading trade caravans and caring for Kaaba, a sign that the coming Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would redefine the true meaning of leadership for the world. The beginning of love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first seed Allah planted in the heart of mankind was love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This love manifested when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born, and his noble mother Amina radiyallahu anha witnessed extraordinary blessings. She saw a divine light shines from her home, spreading as far as Seerah, as though the world had begun to bathe in the divine radiance. This light was not just physical but spiritual, softening the hearts of people of Makkah and making them receptive to the arrival of greatest of the all creation, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aqiqah and the blessed name. 7 days after the birth of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his grandfather Abdul Muttalib performed his aqiqah, a beautiful tradition of Arabs. 2 rams were sacrificed, symbolizing that the newborn child held exceptional honor and blessing. On this occasion, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given the name Muhammad, the praised one. This name was not commonly used in Arabia. Abdul Muttalib chose it through divine inspiration. When asked why he selected such a unique name, he responded, so that he may be praised on earth and in the heavens. Amina radiyallahu anha also gave him a name, Ahmad, the most praised. This name was later mentioned in the Qur'an, where Isa alayhi salam gave the glad tidings of a final messenger to the children of Israel. وَمُبَشِّرًا بِرَسُولٍ يَأْتِي مِن بَعْدِ اسْمُهُ أَحْمَدُ. And I gave glad tidings of a messenger who will come after me, whose name shall be Ahmad. As-Saf, Ayah 6. Thus both names Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Ahmad became symbols of praise in the world and the heavens. The early days after birth. After birth, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was nursed by his blessed mother Amina radiyallahu anha for 2 or 3 days. After that, he was fed by Thawaiba radiyallahu anha, his foster mother, who was freed by Abu Lahab and nursed him out of joy at the birth of her master's nephew. Then he was taken to the village of Banu Sa'd, where Halima Sa'diya radiyallahu anha was honored with nursing him. Blessings in the land of Banu Sa'd. When Halima Sa'diya radiyallahu anha and her husband Harith bin Abdul Uzza brought Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to their tribe, a wave of prosperity swept through. Their animals began producing more milk, the land became more fertile, and their home was filled with tranquility and blessings. 2 years later, when Halima radiyallahu anha brought Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam back to Makkah, it was in the hope that Amina radiyallahu anha might allow him to stay longer. She had seen with her own eyes that this blessed child sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought barakah not only to her household but to their entire tribe. She wished to continue reaping these blessings. Allah's divine will. But Allah's decision was that this light, this mercy, this prosperity was not to remain confined to a single home or tribe. He sent Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a mercy to all mankind, as the Quran states, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And O Prophet, we have not sent you but as a mercy to all the worlds. The opening of the chest and a new chapter. At the age of 4, the incident of the splitting of the chest, Shaqqal Sadr, occurred. The angel Jibreel alayhi salam opened the chest, washed his heart with Zamzam water and filled it with the light of faith and wisdom. After this extraordinary event, Lady Halima radiyallahu anha returned him to Makkah out of concern. This marked the beginning of a new phase in Prophet's upbringing, where Allah was gradually preparing him for the great mission of eternal guidance. The trials of childhood. Every moment of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life is a lesson, a message, and a truth. At the age of 6, when a child's innocence is at its peak, when he plays in his mother's lap, laughs freely, and grows under the shade of parental love, the innocent child, who was to be known as mercy for the worlds, Rahmatul lil Alameen, was already being passed through the tests of life. A short journey to Medina. At the age of 6, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam traveled with his noble mother, Lady Amina radiyallahu anha, to Medina al-Munawwara. This was not merely a family visit, but a divine indication that this city was destined to become the center of his future migration and the capital of Islamic State. During this trip, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed for about a month with the Banu Najjar tribe. The streets, the air, the walls of the city seemed to carry the fragrance of the future, yet to unfold the same Medina that would later to be called the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Madinatul Munawwara, Madinatul Rasul, the valley of Abwa, a mother's farewell. On the return journey, when the caravan reached the valley of Abwa, a moment of profound sorrow arrived. The mother, in whose lap he had barely spent 2 years, whose words of love still echoed in his ears, whose eyes glowed with a divine spark, and who believed with certainty that her son was no ordinary child, but the leader of humanity, Sayyid al-Bashar. She departed from this world, leaving behind his 6-year-old son. The passing of Lady Amina radiyallahu anha. It was a moment of deep loss. A 6-year-old boy saw his mother for the last time. After spending 4 years in the countryside of Banu Sa'd, he returned to his home only to be met with the heartbreak of separation from his mother. The road, the hills, the silence of the valley, all seemed to reflect the grief that filled his little heart. From there, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam returned to Makkah al-Mukarramah, accompanied by the Baraka Ayman radiyallahu anha, a noble woman who loved him like a mother. But no one can replace a mother. The compassion of grandfather Abdul Muttalib. Upon reaching Makkah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came under the guardianship of his grandfather Abdul Muttalib. This beloved grandson became his most precious treasure. He kept Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam close to him, seated him by his side in the shade of the Kaaba, and looked at him with a special gaze of affection. This was not just the love of a grandfather, it was part of divine system designed to that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would experience both the love and loss of every human relationship. This would prepare him to understand and feel the pain of every member of his future ummah. 8 years old, the shadow of his grandfather departs. At the age of 8, another great trial came, the passing of Abdul Muttalib. This was yet another great loss. Grandfathers are often more affectionate than fathers, and especially so when the father has already passed. Abdul Muttalib knew that his grandson was destined for the greatness, so before his death, he ensured his son Abu Talib with the care of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, under the care of Abu Talib and the feeling of orphanhood. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam now came under the care of his uncle Abu Talib, who looked him in with deep love and affection. However, a mother's place can never be filled, and even the care of a loving grandfather cannot be replaced. Thus, at the age of 8, the Prophet ﷺ felt the depth of orphanhood. While other children played under the care of both parents, enjoyed having their wishes fulfilled, ran into their mother's arm in the evening, and sat joyful on their father's shoulders, this innocent child ﷺ, though loved by his uncle, felt a silent void in his heart. This deep emotional state would later transform him into a refuge of orphans, a mercy for orphans. These early years of the Prophet ﷺ's life planted in his heart a special love for orphans. This is why later in life he embraced them, cared for them, and declared, "I and the one who takes care of an orphan will be in paradise like this." He then held his two fingers together to show their closeness.